Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge because we're counting down the days until Rise of the Resistance comes and saves Star Wars land for everybody. That's what Disney is banking on, that Rise of the Resistance is going to be the savior of Galaxy's Edge, that it's going to turn things around because Galaxy's Edge has gotten a really bad rap. More so on the West Coast than the East Coast, but a lot of people complaining about the park not being quite up to snuff, not bringing people in like they expected it to. And Disney does need the good press. They need some good press when it comes to Star Wars because for the last couple of years, ever since The Last Jedi, Disney has been taking a beating over Star Wars, the handling of the Star Wars franchise. And it's not just from YouTubers, it's not just from disgruntled fans. Mainstream media has been pointing out that Star Wars is a damaged brand. Disney, however, seems to think that everything's fine. It's all fine here. How are you? How are you? Anyway, we're going to talk about Galaxy's Edge and how the Motley Fool, which seems to flip-flop from day to day, and we're going to show that the Motley Fool is saying that Disney World and Disneyland need Rise of the Resistance to be a big hit. And this is entirely true. Basically, this is it. They get a do-over. They opened Galaxy's Edge before both rides were built. They opened with the lesser of the two rides. It did not wow people, and there have been a lot of complaints that there's really nothing to do in Galaxy's Edge except shop and drink blue milk. So that's not a good look, and that doesn't sell trips. That doesn't book trips. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on CLOWNFISH TV. We hit 77,000 subs. Thank you for that, and we're hoping for 100,000 soon. You guys have been awesome. So before we talk about Galaxy's Edge and Rise of the Resistance, let's talk about where Disney is with the parks right now. Now, they did see a pretty marked decline in attendance over the summer in the third quarter. Disneyland, of course, got beat up by the press because the attendance was dismal over the summer. It was like a ghost town. They had blocked out a lot of AP dates, and it was not good. A lot of people stayed away because of Star Wars. They jacked the ticket prices. Disneyland was considered a ghost town. In Disney World, it wasn't much better. They were having fire sales to get people to the hotels this fall. Multiple sales. This is not something that Disney normally does. They need people to get to the parks because we can't tell people that Galaxy's Edge was not Harry Potter. It was nowhere in the same league as Harry Potter, did not drive trips like Harry Potter did for Universal. So this pretty much sums it up. Even though Disney had a really good fourth quarter, their revenue was up, the attendance was flat. And basically they've been getting more blood out of the same amount of rocks. The attendance is flat, but they jacked up their ticket prices, they jacked up their food prices, hotel prices. We have all kinds of upcharges for everything. Everything now, the parking, bell services, there's upcharges for everything, and that's how they made up the revenue. I mean, when you're paying almost $7 for a Mickey Mouse pretzel, that's how they're jacking up their revenue. But we don't have a lot of people going to Disney World, at least not as many as usual. And that's definitely true at Disneyland. So we'll talk about that. The attendance was mixed. Now, I have heard that on average, the attendance has been much better at Disney World. Of course, we've got Food and Wine Festival, we have the holidays coming. But the fact that Disney had fire sales earlier in this year means that things are not great. But Disney's very good at massaging numbers. Massaging numbers to make sure that those numbers have a happy ending when they do their quarterly earnings report. They have to make things look as good as possible. So this came from the Motley Fool about a day ago. Disney World and Disneyland need their new ride to be a hit. Now, we do know that there were problems with Rise of the Resistance. We actually had some cast members coming to us and saying, my God, they put the track on upside down. Now, before you jump me and say there's no track, because it's a trackless ride system, there most certainly is magnetic track underneath the concrete. And what I had heard from multiple sources was that the track was initially put on upside down. They had to tear the concrete up. There were some other issues too, some cost-cutting measures that didn't pan out, construction issues, et cetera, et cetera. The rain, I guess, damaged some of it. So they've had all kinds of problems, and it did get pushed back. Now, I heard last year that Galaxy's Edge in its entirety was not supposed to open until December or January. Disney jumped the gun because they thought by opening Galaxy's Edge early, they could get that revenue on the books and make things look better. And it actually had the opposite effect. It actually drove people away for a number of reasons. So I thought that was kind of crazy how that worked out. I did not expect that at all. But it totally makes sense that people are waiting for both rides. Why book a trip to Disney World when in 2 months they're going to have another ride? If you only go, especially if you only go once every couple of years. So we're less than 2 weeks away from the debut of what could be the most important new ride at Disney's Florida resort in years, even more so than Avatar. I would agree with this because this is going to make or break Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance opens in Walt Disney World on December 5th. The immersive sci-fi attraction will open at Disneyland in California a month later. Yeah, people are pissed about that. They are. They booked their trips. They thought they were going to open them both in December, and uh-oh, they didn't do it. A media event has already been slated for the 4th, so everything appears to be on track for the new Star Wars themed ride to open on time in Florida. And we will not be going to that because we got pushed out of our previous Disney blog, which did have media access. But I digress. Hope the new person that took our place and didn't earn it has fun at that event. Disneyland has rattled investors by posting back-to-back quarters of a year-over-year attendance decline, despite the late May opening of the 14-acre Star Wars expansion that was supposed to generate a flurry of turnstile clicks. It did not. Galaxy's Edge has been off to a slow start in California, that's what we're calling it, but it's fared marginally better at Disney World, that's true, where the nearly identical expansion opened 3 months later, with the 9th installment in the Star Wars movie, with the 9th installment of Star Wars hitting a multiplex on December 20th, and I don't know how that's going to do. The internet is having a field day with it. The ride's debut on both coasts will serve as promotional bookends to the film's theatrical premiere. The iconic franchise just isn't getting a lot of love these days from its diehard fans. Many purists aren't pleased with the way the final trilogy in the series has been playing out, though the films continue to be box office hits. Well, Last Jedi had a pretty steep drop, and Solo was not a box office hit by anybody's numbers. On the theme park front, Galaxy's Edge has been getting fairly mixed reviews, but we'll have to wait until the new ride opens. Disney chose to open the bi-coastal expansion earlier than originally expected, but months before its flagship attraction was ready. That was stupid. It was really stupid. They got greedy, and it bit them in the ass. A lot of knee-jerk critics have based their opinions on Galaxy's Edge based on just the first phase of its rollout. It was supposed to all open at one time. Disney got greedy. They wanted to open part of it so they could get revenue on the books, and it backfired. And now a lot of people's first impression of Galaxy's Edge is it's a lot of stores and there's absolutely nothing to do. And the Falcon ride confuses people. That was stupid. It was really dumb and very short-sighted and very current year Disney. Very current year Disney. Short-sightedness. The lone ride, the Falcon Smuggler's Run, is a flight simulator, yada yada. Reviews have been fairly positive for the supersized arcade gaming experience, but Rise of the Resistance should be the theme land's piece de resistance. Pardon my French. Rise of the Resistance is being billed as the longest ride at either park, and the early buzz is that it will more than live up to the hype. Guests will initially be arrested by Kylo Ren and an army of stormtroopers aboard a First Order Star Destroyer before attempting a daring escape through life-size sets. A lot can go wrong, but there's more upside than downside at this point given the sluggish attendance trends at Disneyland that squelched the excitement for the land's launch at sister resort in Florida 3 months later. They're admitting it. People were underwhelmed and they just didn't book a trip because they're like, yeah, it's kind of balls. We'll wait for the other ride to open. Galaxy's Edge is a better product than the initial knocks suggest. Even the disappointing attendance trend seems to be more the handiwork of huge price increases in ticket pricing, a miscalculation on Disney's part, than the quality of the new expansion. No, I think it's both. I mean, basically, you've gotten to a point where the ticket prices don't justify the experience. You know, if Galaxy's Edge opened and the ticket prices stayed the same, people will be like, oh, it's just more stuff to see, more stuff to do. People are going to go to Disney World regardless, you know, because they plan their annual or biannual vacations and they go to Disney World. A little bit of a different experience than Disneyland. And because of that, you know, when you jack the ticket prices up, people are going to be like, I'm not booking a trip. I'm not flying to Florida I'm not staying at the overpriced hotels for a week because of, you know, just to go see Star Wars. If it's not something really spectacular. Disney World, and more importantly, Disneyland, needs Rise of the Resistance to be a bar-raising game changer. Star Wars, don't fail Disney now. Actually, it's the other way around. Disney has failed Star Wars. Disney has failed Star Wars. They bought Star Wars. They don't know what to do with it. You know, but then when they get it right, they still get it wrong. You know, we talked about earlier today, The Mandalorian. A lot of old school fans are coming around. They actually like The Mandalorian. You know, Disney Plus is actually doing pretty well. People are like, hey, we like The Mandalorian. And then what does Disney do? There's a kerfuffle with, you know, copyright claims against gifts. They roll out Baby Yoda merchandise. It's terrible. You've got the blogs. Remember the blogs that used to completely kiss Disney's ass? Well, now they're still attacking Star Wars fans over The Mandalorian because there weren't enough women in The Mandalorian. I mean, it's ridiculous. So even when Disney gets it right, they still get it wrong. And frankly, a lot of these bloggers, these news outlets are doing more damage. They're throwing kerosene on the fire, and Disney, I think, needs to shut them down. But if you're looking for more information on Galaxy's Edge, I actually recommend following this guy on Twitter, SW Galaxy's Edge. A lot of tweets coming out, which I have to look into this more. They're talking about getting rid of the green and blue milk. This is on a Jim Hill podcast. Jim Hill is a pretty well-known Disney insider. If he says they're getting rid of them, there's probably about an 80% chance they're getting rid of the green and blue milk. But they are getting ready for this media event. We talked before about the X-Wings. They're building X-Wing drones, or they're testing X-Wing drones. They're going to do a flyover or something, probably just for this event. But they are going all out. And look, I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty impressive from the outside. We just don't know what it's going to smell like on the inside. Yeah, we don't know how the ride's going to be, and Disney was throwing a lot of shade at Universal for downtime on the Hagrid coaster a couple of months ago, and I think it would be hugely ironic if Rise of the Resistance, given the complexity of this ride system, also had major malfunctions, and then Disney would just, you know, make excuses for it, I'm sure, like they usually do. But if you want to check all these links out, I'm going to put them in the description. So yeah, again, Disney, you got to get this one right, or it's game over for Galaxy's Edge, because right now people are just not that impressed. So I'll wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. Talk later. Thinking about printing your own comic books, graphic novel, or manga? We recommend our friends over at PrintNinja. We've been using PrintNinja as long as they've been printing comics, and both the quality and price is excellent. Mention Clownfish TV and get an additional 5% overrun of your book order quantity printed for free. For free! That's free books, people. Just mention this offer on the phone or in the additional information box on the quote request form. That's printninja.com, or click on the link in the description below. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.